Foundation as a partner in that work. Our next candidate up is Shawn Terry, candidate for HD 108 in the March primary.
All right, so Shawn, take a minute here to introduce yourself and your platform.
Thank you so much to all of you who came today and are taking the time to listen to us. So again, my name is Shawn Terry, ShawnForTexas.com. I was persuaded to run for this office because of the importance of our elections in 2020 and the 2021 legislative cycle. Most of my adult life I've either lived or worked or both in this district. And so I know the various communities, and I can say confidently it is an incredible group of people, and I'd be honored to represent them. But I think I bring something unique to the race and to my potential service in Austin, in that I would be the first or the only out gay man in the legislature, which is unique and certainly overdue for our community. I very much appreciate the work that Planned Parenthood does on behalf of my community, especially with transgender patients, and it's really incredible. My ex-wife runs the transgender clinic for the state of Arkansas, and they really depend on Planned Parenthood for the resources that they need for their patients. One other thing I'll just say personally, my daughter went to school in California and now lives in Los Angeles. And when I was trying to persuade her to move home from college, she said that she would not move back to Texas because women are under assault in our state. And sadly, I think that is the perception of many people across our country. And one of the primary motivations for me in running is to make sure that Texas grows and expands our economy by becoming a more inclusive state. And I think if Texas opens our arms and becomes the welcoming state that we are as people, and inclusive in all ways, that's the best way to attract talent. People like my young daughter who might otherwise not want to move back here. And I think we've got a real opportunity to change both the culture and the tone in Austin to reflect the personal values that all of us have.
Great, thank you. Well, you've touched on it a little bit, but our first question is, in what ways have you shown support for and been involved in the fight to expand reproductive health care in Texas? And the second part of that question is, how have these issues impacted you personally? What experiences shaped your perspective?
So, I'll try to weave both of them together. So, funny enough, as an SMU student, I was actually a Planned Parenthood patient with my girlfriend. So we went to the clinic on Greenville many times. So I have personal experience dating back to when I was younger. And my daughter is a patient in LA. But as far as my own personal involvement, I would say my involvement in Wendy Davis's race in 2014, and I was a strong supporter and volunteer for Wendy, was largely driven by her filibuster in the Capitol that year to try to fight against yet other bad bills that we all fight against. And since then, I've been a contributor and a supporter of Planned Parenthood and the great work that you do, not just about reproductive justice, but also women's health care, and as I mentioned, health care in the LGBTQ community. I have many, many friends in our community who rely on Planned Parenthood for their health care, and so it's vital that we reverse the attacks that you've had to suffer.
Okay, great answer. And with that, since 2006, approximately $170 million in state money has been taken away from clinics that provide preventative health care. And that includes family planning services, and that money has been given to crisis pregnancy centers, including the failed Heidi Group, and the state's alternatives to abortion program is dangerous and financially irresponsible. How do you propose we combat this flood of taxpayer money into sham crisis pregnancy centers?
So first, thanks, Sydney. And I agree, they are sham centers. I think one of the things we can do as legislators is shine a spotlight on that. I think many Texans don't realize that so many of their dollars are going to illegitimate groups that purport to do one thing, but they do something else. So I think we as legislators can hold hearings, investigate, and promote transparency. And I will say it's actually a broader issue than just this particular type of sham counseling. In our state today, unbelievably, we have over 2,000 state contracts or state agreements without a legal contract. So our state is literally giving away billions of dollars to nonprofit organizations or purportedly nonprofits, and there's no legal agreement by which those monies go out, and there's no standards or accountability. So I agree on this particular issue. Of course, it's really important, but it's actually a broader issue. And I think most Texans don't realize that so much of our state tax dollars are devoted to organizations with absolutely no transparency or accountability.
Sounds like cronyism.
That was a comment that said, sounds like cronyism.
Yes.
Sadly, I think you're right.
Yes.
Yes. We have another question from one of our partner organizations, somebody from NARO Portrait, Texas, is here to join us. If you want to introduce yourself and ask your questions.
Absolutely. Hi, my name is Jessica, and I'm the Dallas Regional Organizer from NARO Pro-Choice Texas. Thank you for inviting me. So my question for you is, candidates often shy away from using the word abortion and instead use euphemisms like women's health care. Research has shown that our opposition uses the word abortion 4 times more than we do, which means that they control the narrative about the standard medical procedure. Can you pledge to help us destigmatize abortion by using the word abortion when talking about the issue for the remainder of your campaign and your term if elected?
Yeah, I think it's a valid point, and I do think it's a loaded word for a lot of people. And I appreciate the perspective that you're bringing in raising that. So I certainly will discuss abortion freely and explain how vital it is that those rights are inherent with the woman and really decisions that can only be made by a patient and a doctor without any legislative interference. I think the government should play no role in abortion policies or politics. So I strongly support all efforts to eliminate any government interference in a woman's right to have an abortion, make sure that that's safe and delivered as cost effectively as possible for those who can't afford it.
Thank you.
So I do have a follow-up with, the stigmatizing and the opposition's use of the word. So how can you address them specifically, and this is a topic that was brought to my attention, men who are pushing women to have abortion who may not want to make that choice. And so we hear this about abortion all the time, that women are just kind of doing this willy-nilly and using it as a form of birth control. Can you take that fight to the opposition while you're in Austin to say, hey, how are you addressing abortion being pushed by men and still taking away a woman's choice to make a decision with her body?
Yeah, I want to make sure I understand the question completely, but I think this somewhat falls under the whole category of misogyny, if I take your question right. We do have a society where women's rights are often trampled, where women are not respected enough to make their own opinions about their own bodies. Certainly that particular decision, the decision to have or not have an abortion, is incredibly personal and is something that really only a woman can make, maybe in consultation with her doctor on certain occasions. So I think what we have to do as a legislature is change this destructive climate that we have around women's health, around politics, around women, and make sure that we as a legislature not just respect women, but all people of color in my community, the LGBTQ community, because I think by being more open, by being more welcoming and expanding opportunity for all Texans, we can destigmatize some of these issues, and I think show the respect that every single Texan deserves. And one of the primary motivations for me in running is to make sure that every Texan is treated respectfully and every Texan has the same rights.
Thank you. Just to clarify everyone on that particular issue, the term is reproductive coercion, and it happens on the side of not allowing, if there's a partner in a woman who's experiencing a pregnancy and the woman wants to access an abortion, a partner may be prohibiting her from accessing an abortion or maybe pushing her to get an abortion. And the point is that decision should lie with the person herself.
Yeah, can I follow up just to be really clear? I think only a woman can make that decision. It's her body, it's her health. And so to be very clear, I would oppose any effort that in any way minimize that woman's ability to make that choice for herself.
Thank you. So just we have 1 minute left on the job, so any closing remarks?
Thank you. Again, thanks to all of you for being here. 2020 is an incredibly important year. We need to flip 9 seats to make sure that we have a House majority. And this district is really the epicenter of that fight. In the 2018 election, Beto O'Rourke won our district by 13,000 votes. And we should have won it last time. This time, we've got to make sure that we do it. We cannot have a House majority without winning this district. And it's really about what is our state going to look like going forward. Do we want to be a state that is 40-something in every educational metric? Or do we want to be a leader in making sure our kids have the best education? Do we want to be a state that demonizes the trans community? Or do we want to be a welcoming and inclusive state? Do we want to be a state that leads the country in teenage pregnancies? Or do we want to once again make sure that we have access to abortion, but more importantly, programs across our state to provide preventative health care and contraception for everyone who needs it so that abortion is minimized as a need? We have fought for so long to make sure that we have proper education in our schools, and I think this election is to ensure that we move forward, that Texas becomes a leader not just in education, but in healthcare and in women's rights. And let's all work together to make sure that we flip our House next year, win the 9 seats, and change the trajectory of the state. Thank you.
Great, thank you, Shawn. Thank you so much for being here. Thank you, everybody who joined us online and in the audience. That concludes our candidate forum. Any closing words, Sydney, before we head out?
Just remember that early voting starts Monday. We have a statewide election with 10 propositions on the ballot. So if you have any questions about those, Coffee and Politics 101 did a session this morning with Mark Melton discussing all of those propositions, and also there are 3 candidates for House District 100.
Thank you. Thank you to our candidates who participated today. We had Daniel Clayton, James Armstrong, and Lorraine Beerville in HD 100 special election. Early voting starts Monday. And for our HD 108 primary election, thank you to Tom Irvin, Shawn Terry, and Joanna Cadillac for joining us. Thank you everybody for being a part of this, and vote for Proposition 6 starting on Monday. Thanks, y'all.